Hollywood has always been painted as a world of glamour, bright lights, red carpets, and child stars who seem almost magical. They danced, they sang, they cried on cue, and for a moment in time, they carried the dreams of an entire nation on their tiny shoulders. But behind that glittering curtain lies a truth far darker than most people ever realize. For every smiling face on screen, there was a childhood shaped by pressure, isolation, impossible expectations, and the ruthless demands of an industry built to use them, then forget them. Some of these children became legends, earning fortunes and worldwide fame before they turned 12. Yet many of them never had a real childhood at all. When the cameras stopped rolling, their lives took very different paths, some heartbreaking, some inspiring, and some so shocking they were erased from Hollywood's own memory. This is the side of Hollywood no studio wants to celebrate. The rise and disappearance of the kids who once ruled the silver screen. Some were destroyed by the spotlight, some escaped it, and a rare few transformed their lives in ways more powerful than any script ever written. Today, we uncover both the brilliance and the darkness behind Hollywood's youngest stars. They were the faces America adored. Tiny superstars who lit up the screen, saved studios from collapse, and became icons before they could even tie their shoes. But behind the applause in the magazine covers was a darker truth Hollywood never wanted you to see. Some vanished overnight. Some were destroyed by fame. Some walked away without a word. And others met endings so tragic they were erased from history. Today, we uncover the real stories Hollywood tried to bury. Not every Hollywood disappearance is a tragedy. Some of the most unforgettable child stars didn't fall. They walked away. Quietly. Deliberately. Powerfully. These are the rare children who looked straight at the blinding spotlight and chose another life. 1. Deanna Durbin, the superstar who vanished by choice. Deanna Durbin wasn't just famous. She was a phenomenon. By her early 20s, she was one of America's highest-paid women, the girl who literally saved Universal Studios from bankruptcy. Fans worshipped her. Hollywood depended on her. But none of it made her happy. At just 27, Deanna made the most shocking decision a superstar could make. She quit. No scandal, no breakdown, no messy headlines, just a clean, flawless exit. She married, moved to France, rejected every comeback offer, and spent the next 6 decades living a peaceful, private life. In an industry obsessed with comebacks, her silence was the boldest statement of all. 2. Margaret O'Brien, Hollywood's sweetheart who chose normalcy. Margaret O'Brien could cry on cue, steal scenes from seasoned adult actors, and melt audiences with a single expression. She was MGM's emotional powerhouse, but growing up meant outgrowing Hollywood. When her roles faded, she didn't chase fame or cling to the past. Instead, she walked away gracefully. No scandals, no chaos, just a quiet shift toward a private, stable life. She married, raised a family, and appeared occasionally at film festivals, proving that not every child star needs a tragic ending to be remembered. 3. Claude Jarman Jr., the boy who left stardom for scholarship. Claude Jarman Jr.'s performance in The Yearling was so extraordinary it won him a Juvenile Academy Award. Hollywood was ready to shape him into its next leading man, but Claude had other plans. After a few more films, he made a decision few young stars dare consider. He left the industry to finish school. He went to college, served in the Navy, and eventually found success behind the scenes, running the San Francisco International Film Festival. For Claude, walking away wasn't failure. It was wisdom. 4. Gloria Jean, the next Deanna Durbin who refused the spotlight. Universal believed Gloria Jean would be their next big musical treasure, and for a moment, it seemed true. She starred in more than 20 films before she was 21. But when Hollywood's obsession with sugary musicals faded, so did her opportunities. Instead of fighting a losing battle, Gloria bowed out gracefully. She took regular jobs, raised her family, and embraced a life beyond fame. For her, leaving Hollywood wasn't a tragedy. It was liberation. 5. Kevin Corcoran, John Provost, and Martin Stevens. The quiet exits. Kevin Corcoran, Disney's beloved Moochie, left acting to build a long, respected career behind the camera. John Provost, known as Timmy from Lassie, retired from acting at 14 and moved on to a normal, grounded life. Martin Stevens, the eerily brilliant child from Village of the Damned, simply vanished from showbiz at 16 and lived peacefully in obscurity. These children weren't destroyed by Hollywood. They outsmarted it. They recognized that fame is fleeting, and instead of letting the industry define their lives, they chose to define their own. In a world addicted to applause, their quiet departures are the rarest type of victory. Not every child star had the luxury of walking away. For many, fame wasn't a path to glory, it was the beginning of their downfall. Hollywood adored them when they were cute, marketable, and profitable. But when they grew up, struggled, or simply changed, the industry turned its back. What followed were some of the most heartbreaking stories in entertainment history. 1. Brandon DeWilde, the prodigy silenced too soon. Brandon DeWilde became immortal at age 11 with his emotional cry in Shane. "Shane, come back!" Critics hailed him as a gifted actor with rare depth. He transitioned into adult roles better than most child stars. Hollywood believed he had decades of brilliance ahead. But fate had other plans. In 1972, just as his career was rising again, Brandon died in a sudden car accident at age 30. No scandal, no downward spiral, just a cruel twist of destiny. His story is tragic not because he fell, but because he was never given the chance to rise fully. 2. Bobby Driscoll, Peter Pan who lost his wings. Bobby Driscoll was Disney's first contracted child star, the face of Treasure Island, the voice of Peter Pan, and a boy crowned with a special Oscar. For a moment, he was untouchable. But when puberty changed his looks, Disney dropped him overnight. His confidence shattered. Roles disappeared. And Hollywood labeled him difficult before he was even old enough to vote. Bobby spiraled into drugs, arrests, and desperation. He tried rehab, but the industry's rejection haunted him. In 1968, he was found dead in an abandoned New York building, no ID, no recognition. He was buried in a mass grave. 2 years later, a fingerprint match revealed the truth. The boy who played Peter Pan died alone, forgotten, and nameless. His life is a brutal reminder that Hollywood loves fantasy, not the people who create it. 3. Scotty Beckett, the golden boy who crashed hard. With his sideways cap and infectious charm, Scotty Beckett was a fan favorite in Our Gang and later in feature films. He seemed destined for a long career, but when his father died during his teenage years, everything changed. Grief pulled him into addiction. Addiction pulled him into scandal. By the 1950s, his life was a tabloid spectacle. Pills, alcohol, arrests, broken marriages, and roles that dwindled to nothing. When he checked into a nursing home after a mysterious beating in 1968, many hoped it would be a turning point. Instead, he died 2 days later from a barbiturate overdose. He was only 38. A child star adored by millions, reduced to a tragic footnote. 4. Tommy Rettig, the boy who ran from Lassie and fell hard. Tommy Rettig, beloved as Jeff in Lassie, didn't want to grow up on television. He asked to be released from his contract at 14, a bold move for a young actor. But Hollywood was unforgiving. He struggled to land mature roles. Then came legal troubles, drug charges, and a reputation he couldn't shake. Unlike many who spiraled indefinitely, Tommy fought his way back, not through acting, but through technology. He became a pioneer in database software and an author respected in the computing world. His tragedy was real, but his comeback was remarkable. 5. Jane North, Dennis the Menace behind closed doors. To millions, Jane North was the mischievous Dennis the Menace, adorable, energetic, iconic. But behind the scenes, he lived another life entirely. His guardians, who controlled his earnings and daily life, emotionally and psychologically abused him. Every mistake, every imperfect line brought punishment at home. When the show ended, so did his childhood. Hollywood typecast him. Roles disappeared. Jay struggled with depression and eventually stepped away from the industry altogether. He built a normal life, but the scars remained. His story exposes the darkest truth of all. Sometimes the real danger isn't fame. It's the people entrusted to protect child stars. These stories aren't cautionary tales. They're warnings carved into Hollywood's history. Fame made these children shine, but the same fame swallowed them whole. And behind every smiling poster from Hollywood's golden age was a child fighting battles no one ever saw. Not every child star burned out. Not every Hollywood story ends in tragedy or retreat. A rare group of former child actors did something far more difficult than fame. They reinvented themselves. These are the survivors, the ones who refused to let Hollywood define who they were, the ones who built second acts as impressive as their screen careers. 1. Freddie Bartholomew, from child royalty to corporate visionary. During the Great Depression, Freddie Bartholomew was one of the most recognizable faces in the world. His performances in David Copperfield, Little Lord Fauntleroy, and Captains Courageous made him a global sensation. He brought elegance, intelligence, and emotional depth that few adult actors could match. Studios banked on him, fans adored him. But behind the fame was chaos. Freddie's estranged parents returned to fight bitter custody battles, draining his money and nearly destroying his career. Most child stars would have collapsed under that pressure. Freddie didn't. When his teenage years brought fewer roles, he took control of his life. He joined the military during World War II and afterward entered the advertising world, starting from the bottom. Through determination and talent, he became an award-winning commercial director and later a respected executive. He was no longer the child star. He was the boss. Freddie proved something groundbreaking. You can outgrow Hollywood and build a future no studio could ever script. 2. Bonita Granville, the firecracker who became a Hollywood power player. Bonita Granville shocked audiences at age 13 with her chilling performance in These Three, earning an Oscar nomination. She later became the big screen embodiment of Nancy Drew, America's favorite teen detective. For a while, she was unstoppable bold, confident, unforgettable. Then the spotlight dimmed. Roles grew smaller. Hollywood was ready to toss her aside, just like it had done to countless others. But Bonita had a plot twist waiting. In 1947, she married oil tycoon and producer Jack Rather, and together they built an entertainment empire. Bonita transformed from actress to executive, overseeing TV and film productions, including the massively popular Lassie franchise. She managed contracts, made deals, and controlled budgets, a woman running the show in an era when women were rarely allowed behind the desk. Bonita Granville didn't just survive Hollywood. She conquered it from the other side of the camera. 3. June Lockhart, the child star who mastered longevity. Most child actors disappear by their teens, casualties of typecasting or industry burnout. June Lockhart is the exception. Born into a family of performers, she appeared in A Christmas Carol at 13, then continued working through her teens and adulthood without interruption. But she wasn't just working, she was thriving. In the 1950s and 60s, she earned a permanent place in television history as America's most beloved mom. First in Lassie, then in Lost in Space. Kind, graceful, strong, she became a symbol of comfort and stability for millions of viewers. What makes June extraordinary isn't just her fame, it's her endurance. No scandals, no collapses, no vanishing act. Just decade after decade of steady work, professionalism, and transformation. Now in her late 90s, June remains one of the final living links to Hollywood's golden age, still attending events, still sharp, still shining. She didn't escape Hollywood. She mastered it. 4. Johnny Crawford, the boy who followed his heart. Johnny Crawford captured America's love as Mark McCain, the sensitive, brave son in The Rifleman. His talent was unmistakable. But as he grew older, Hollywood didn't know what to do with him. Roles disappeared. The industry that lifted him up slowly pushed him out. Instead of fading, Johnny pivoted not to scandal, but to music. He reinvented himself as a singer, releasing chart-topping hits in the early 1960s. Later, he founded a vintage dance orchestra, performing the big band music he cherished. Johnny didn't cling to his childhood fame. He built a new career centered on joy, artistry, and authenticity. Even as he battled Alzheimer's in his final years, Johnny remained remembered not for tragedy, but for grace and reinvention. These former child stars didn't crumble under the weight of fame. They adapted, they evolved. They built lives that were stronger, richer, and more meaningful than anything Hollywood planned for them. In a world where the spotlight consumes most of its youngest talents, these survivors prove something extraordinary. Your second act can be greater than your first. Not every child star who fell from fame ended in tragedy. Some were forgotten by Hollywood, erased from the very industry they helped build, yet instead of breaking, they fought back. Their stories are less glamorous, less celebrated, but far more powerful. These are the children who survived exploitation, poverty, and obscurity, and still managed to rebuild their lives with resilience and dignity. 1. Baby Peggy, the million-dollar toddler Hollywood tried to erase. Before Shirley Temple, before Disney's golden age, there was Baby Peggy, the first true child superstar. By age 5, she had appeared in over 150 films, earned more than most adults of the era, and had her face on everything from dolls to breakfast cereals. She was adored by millions. Yet behind the charm was a childhood of exploitation. Peggy was worked like a machine, 8-hour days, dangerous stunts, and emotional manipulation. If she couldn't cry on cue, someone pressed an ice cube to her face until she did. Her father controlled every cent she earned, but his reckless spending and ego destroyed her fortune. Everything collapsed when he clashed with a major film producer. Overnight, Baby Peggy was blacklisted, her career gone, her fame erased, her money vanished. The family spiraled into poverty. Peggy was forced on the vaudeville circuit to survive, still a child performing for adults who barely remembered her former stardom. When even that dried up, she walked away from Hollywood entirely, changed her name to Diana Sarah Carey, and tried to reclaim her life. But Diana didn't run from her past. She rewrote it. As an adult, she became a respected author and film historian, dedicating her life to exposing the exploitation of child actors. She fought to protect future generations from suffering the same economic and emotional abuse she endured. She lived to 101. Baby Peggy didn't just survive Hollywood's cruelty, she challenged its legacy. 2. The quiet battlers, child stars who fought in their own way. Not all the fighters became activists or public figures. Some waged their battles privately, forging lives beyond the industry even when Hollywood left them with nothing. Diana Carey's legacy echoed through others. Many former child stars of the early era never reclaimed their careers, but fought their way through normal jobs, personal struggles, and the emotional scars of their childhood fame. They rebuilt without applause and without recognition a fight no less courageous. B. Actors who lost fame but found themselves. Some child stars went on to hold everyday jobs. Teachers, clerks, writers, secretaries. They left behind the glitter and started over completely. These reinventions weren't glamorous, but they were victories. They proved that life can still flourish after Hollywood forgets your name. C. Survivors with invisible battles. Many of these children bore the emotional toll of early fame. Anxiety, identity loss, financial ruin, trauma from overwork or abusive guardians. Yet they built families, found stable careers, and lived full lives outside the spotlight. Their quiet resilience stands as one of the strongest forms of triumph. 3. Why these fighters matter. Hollywood loves stories of success and stories of spectacular downfall, but it rarely celebrates the quiet fighters in the middle, the ones who weren't destroyed, but weren't celebrated either. The ones who grew up in the wreckage of early fame, yet still built something real, something grounded, something human. Their stories show that recovery doesn't have to be cinematic to be meaningful. It doesn't take a comeback to be heroic. Sometimes, survival is the most powerful comeback of all. Some child stars escaped Hollywood's chaos. Some rebuilt their lives. But only one completely transformed herself into something far greater than fame. That one was Shirley Temple. Shirley wasn't just famous, she was a global force. During the Great Depression, when the world was drowning in fear and uncertainty, a little girl with bouncing curls, tap shoes, and a radiant smile became America's greatest source of hope. By age 6, she was earning more than the President of the United States. Her image appeared on dolls, cereals, dresses, and billboards. She lifted the spirits of millions. But Hollywood is cruel to growing girls. By age 12, her box office magic faded not because she failed, but because audiences wanted the child, not the young woman she was becoming. Her studio dropped her. Her teenage films flopped. The world that once adored her shut its doors. Most child stars crumble after that. But Shirley Temple didn't crumble. She evolved. She retired from acting at 22, started a family, and then began a second career that stunned everyone. Public service. Shirley Temple Black became a respected diplomat, representing the United States at the United Nations, serving as ambassador to Ghana and later Czechoslovakia during a critical time in history. Her intelligence, grace, and leadership surprised those who only remembered her as the adorable tap-dancing girl. She proved that real talent isn't limited to the screen. It can shine anywhere. Shirley left behind a legacy so powerful, it spans generations. A child star who didn't cling to her past. A woman who stepped out of Hollywood's shadow. A leader who forged her own identity, her own purpose, and her own path. Shirley Temple didn't just outgrow fame, she transcended it. Hollywood loves to sell dreams. The bright lights, the red carpets, the glitter that blinds both audiences and performers. But behind every poster of a smiling child star lies a reality far more complicated. Some of these children shone brilliantly, and then walked away before the machine could crush them. Some lost everything, their careers, their innocence, their futures, and still managed to rise again. Others vanished quietly into ordinary lives, far from the fame that once defined them. A few, like Shirley Temple, transcended their past and changed the world beyond entertainment. Their stories reveal a truth that Hollywood rarely admits. Fame is temporary. Childhood is permanent. And the price of early stardom is often paid in silence. The rise and disappearance of these young stars isn't just entertainment history. It's a reflection of an industry built to consume youth and discard it when the shine fades. But these stories also reveal something beautiful. The human ability to rebuild, to reinvent, and to survive. Some of these former stars found peace. Some found purpose. Some found themselves. And that may be the greatest legacy of all. As we look back at the children who once lit up the silver screen, we must remember not just the roles they played, but the people they became, the battles they fought, the lives they lived, and the strength it took to step out of the spotlight. If these stories moved you, if they shocked you, inspired you, or made you see Hollywood in a different light, then don't leave just yet. Hit like to help this documentary reach more people. And if you love uncovering the forgotten stories behind the silver screen, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next chapter we reveal. Now we want to hear from you. Which child star's stories surprised you the most and why? Share your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. Thank you for watching. And remember, behind every bright star, there is always a shadow waiting to be understood.